Thanks, everybody. I'm Justin Evans. I'm Chief Strategy Officer from Collective. For those of you unfamiliar with Collective, we are a company of data geeks, like myself. And we take the attitude that the most effective way to advertise is by using audience data across all screens, not just in digital, but in TV, desktop, mobile, tablet. Our goal is to bridge all of these devices so marketers and agencies can optimize an ad experience for the right consumer on any screen. Now, before the Zenith guys take center stage, it's my job to take a bullet for them and get through some of the foundational information about the product we're going to talk about today that they have been pioneers with. I'm going to quickly describe our insights product called TV Analytics. TV Analytics is not a very imaginative name, but as a product, it helps marketers and agencies make decisions about their TV spend in a very new way. It starts with the premise that TV advertisers want to sell products and services. All right, so far so good. The second premise is that most shoppers, 78% of them, use the internet to research or make those purchases. So for a data geek, the fact of a consumer doing research online is incredibly exciting. When we research our purchases online, we send out signals, data. We're configuring a car. We're comparing rates on credit cards. This is exciting in two ways. First, it isn't just a couple of hundred people filling out a survey saying, yes, I'm the kind of person who compares rates on credit cards. This is thousands of people a day, hundreds of thousands of people per month, per brand, showing us that information with their behavior. Second, the information is immediate. This isn't a survey filled out last summer. The consumer is telling us, I'm in the market for a credit card now. I'm in the purchase funnel now. So for the first time, using the Collective product with data from RentTrack, marketers can see what those consumers who are ready to buy now, hundreds of thousands of them, are watching on TV. So those are the basics, but instead of telling you more about it, I'm going to show you a little bit. So we worked out an innovative deal with the 4A's, who graciously allowed Collective to pixel the 4A's website. And the visitors to that website are all of you in this audience. And through that means, we gathered profile data on the 4A's membership base. Then we did an analysis of your television viewing behavior, and we got some pretty fun results. So today and tomorrow, you'll be seeing the results of that analysis, starting with the one I'm about to show you. So please, take a minute. Read the question. What cable network do you think is the most watched among the 4A's audience? Soak it in. Dig deep. Shout it out. ESPN. Anybody else? Bravo. Bravo. If you guessed Bravo, you were right. Did I coach you? Bravo indexed the highest watched show for visitors to the 4A's website. So I hope I've done a little bit to bring the product to life. Now we'll hand things over to Zenith. Zenith Optimedia were the flagship adopters of this product, and we'll be showing how they use these insights to make television advertising smarter for their clients. It's my pleasure to hand over the stage to John Nitti, President of Activation of Zenith Optimedia, and John Newting, SVP of Research for Zenith.
All right, cut the music. Thank you, guys. I'm John Nitti, the President of Activation, which basically means I oversee all the buying or all the investment groups at Zenith. And for those that don't know Zenith Optimedia, we are the ROI agency. So data, analytics, and accountability is at the core of what we do. A little bit over 2 years ago, we also took on the tagline of Live ROI. And why that's so important to what we're talking about here at this conference through a lot of the panels that you sat through, but also what Justin walked you through is, how do we look at real-time human signals from search, from social, from mobile, from all different sources, and have that better inform what we do from both a strategy standpoint, so how we actively understand our target consumer and paint that consumer portrait, and not rely upon 2-year-old data, 1-year-old data, or even 6-month-old worth of data, but really get at more real-time, live human actions that can better inform what we're doing. Also, how do we have that live data inform our content and engagement strategies? How do we look at content consumption and what content consumers are engaging with and have that build out our native content platforms? And then, whoop, wrong way. And then most importantly, how do we look at real-time performance? And not just real-time performance in the guise of digital, which we've been doing for a very long time, but real-time performance across all screens. And how do we leverage that live data to optimize across screens, inclusive of video? So with that said, that sort of leads into our view of an evolving marketplace. For the most part, a large amount of the dollars that we've invested historically and even today have been based on this content-driven marketplace, right? High composition of target audience, big tentpole events inclusive of live sports, award shows, or primetime television, where you know exactly where your ad is going to show up, you know when it is, and in what context it's going to show up. What we've seen grow over the past couple of years is this data-driven marketplace. So how do you leverage and make your buys more intelligent based upon data? How do you use ad technology to inform what you're serving up and what you're going to reach your target audience across all those screens? And we see that as a huge opportunity to continue to grow. Started out, if you think about just in digital, and when you did your first retargeting or audience-targeted campaign, and you really tied down to an audience segment, and you had really hard time getting scale against an audience segment, we started to see that open up. And now as you see more and more inventory that is going to be data-enabled, we see that as a huge opportunity, and that is one of the basis of our partnership with Collective. So when you look at data and the importance of audience, what goes into that? You have client data. You know exactly who's gone to each of your client websites. There are certain clients that get more traffic than a publisher's website on a daily basis. How do you leverage and harness that? How do you understand who's your existing customer and who your prospect is? How do we look at second-party data? When have we spoken to this customer before, in what context? And how do we bring that back into our DMP, which again, to date, I think we've looked at a DMP as just something that is in digital, but now we're looking at really across the board. How do you take that data in and have a data management platform approach across all of our touch points? And then how do we look at third-party data, right? There's a lot of great information that we can get from third parties that either has store card scan data that can tell us actual purchase, auto intender data, and how do we bring that together to inform, again, both our upfront strategy, but then also how we optimize our campaigns and bring together different insights that would either optimize a buy or create new areas of opportunity that we weren't aware of going in without looking at this real-time data. So again, the basis of the Zenith Collective partnership is really the importance of how do we add yet another real-time data point to what we're doing for our clients on an ongoing basis. So with that said, I think what Justin teed up before is we've embedded tags across many of our clients' websites, and we've been collecting data since we partnered with Collective on their TV analytics tool back in July of last year. And what that data has been able to tell us is at different success occurrences, whether that means just a website visitation, whether that means somebody has an item loaded into their basket, whether that means they've actually purchased an item online or subscribed for a service, that's all different data that's feeding back to us now. We then merge that with the RentTrack set-top box data, and we can model back and look at re-engineering how we had been targeting digitally, right? If you think about how we have been targeting digitally for quite some time and utilizing some of Collective's tools and technology is, you can take an audience that you either couldn't reach digitally or couldn't reach on a linear screen like a Downton Abbey viewer and target them online, or we can purposely hit somebody that we've reached in TV programming and then retarget them online. How do we reverse engineer that and look at that backwards and take that live human signal of, I've been to that client's website, I've raised my hand here, I've done something that is viewed as a success occurrence as a client, and look at then their TV viewership. And that's really how do you optimize and create other areas where, aha moment, whether you thought it was ESPN or Bravo, that you may have not purchased before in the past. So with that said, I'm going to hand it over to John Newting, somebody who's much more smart and eloquent, to talk you through a little bit about our methodology behind how we look at the data and how we use it for optimizations on our clients' behalf, to not that much level of detail that our clients will allow, but John?
Great. Thank you very much, John. I think now, since the stage has been set for the process, the approach, what I'm going to talk you through is basically how we've been utilizing the new data set. The graph you're seeing in front of you right now, we actually looked at two different sets of pixels, one being homepage visitation, which is represented by the blue bar, and we also looked at conversion page visitors, which is represented by the yellow bar. We can think of that as purchasers, essentially. We then indexed each cable network based on the affinity of that online audience to view that type of content. And right away, I think we see some very interesting findings. So if we just quickly look at top 4 cable networks, we can start getting a kind of a clear picture of who that audience actually is. And it kind of speaks to family, possibly with the presence of children. Again, maybe teenage years, maybe teenagers in the household, particularly with MTV. And what's interesting about MTV is we see there was a high incidence level of homepage visitors, but that conversion rate did not perform as well. And I think there's opportunity there. It could be tailoring message, rotating creative. How do we speak to these people to get them from the consideration set further down the tunnel to ultimately purchase? Some other networks that have popped for us, more family-oriented, more co-viewing opportunities like a TLC or ABC Family, they performed well in both website visitation as well as conversion. So again, these worked very well for our client. They were very efficient. So great places for our clients to be. When we kind of embarked on this partnership, we really came in with some key targeted questions we wanted to answer to help us inform strategy. One being, how do we maximize conversions based on this data? Are there any efficiencies we could take advantage of? And then ultimately, can we use this to find opportunities for competitive conquesting or looking for new prospects? So here we're starting to look at that online audience data, but we also have overlaid basic video spend by channel. And the graph you're looking at right now, for each set of bars, each set of bars represents a channel, and this spans broadcast and cable networks. The blue bar is actual investment in that channel by the advertiser, and the yellow and gray bars represent the affinity of that online audience to consume that content. And it gives us a really quick and nice picture of how can we start optimizing media budget across television channels. And we see in this example, the advertiser had a heavy investment into broadcast networks. So I can see two opportunities here. We either make those dollars work harder, or we also could possibly take some of that allocation and put it towards more efficient, longer tail cable networks. Conversely, I think we can also start overlaying competitive spend and start looking at how well that correlates with our online audiences. And is there opportunity there for conquesting or prospecting? But again, that's only one piece of the data puzzle, right? So Zenith Optimedia our approach always especially with assessing content, we're looking beyond the GRP. So we're looking at multiple data feeds, whether that be first-party or third-party data. And now we've used TV analytics to feed into that equation as far as assessing content. And we saw some interesting results with the inclusion of TV analytics. So this chart that's completely unreadable, you can see or not see kind of underneath the hood. And basically, it's our approach on how we start weighting different variables to get at really relevant content for our targets and our clients. Obviously, weighting by different variables will be dependent on key campaign objectives. But for this example, where we're looking at collective data, TV analytics, contributing 25% of the overall score when we're kind of grading content by cable channel in this example. And what we saw with the inclusion of the TV analytics, it did have an impact in overall ranking. And one network in particular did not perform very well in some of the key metrics we've historically looked at. But it did perform very well in TV analytics, delivering to that online audience. So it ultimately brought that network higher in the rank and possibly within a consideration set for future purchase. And in summary, basically, TV analytics takes website data and turns it into actionable TV insights for buying, for allocation, for optimization. It gives us real-time information about our consumers' online purchasing, and it just gives us a holistic look at who that consumer is. And just thank you so much for your time. We're here for any questions. Please feel free to come up and talk to any of us, and stay tuned for more insights from TV analytics for the 4A's audience. Thanks again.